in. I want to start preparing you along for what we're going to do today. So my name is Cecilia Denton. I'm an industrial psychologist, and I'm from PTES Consulting. We're a psychometric assessment firm that tests mostly individual for recruitment and personal development. So as part of our business, we also have a study methods academy. And in this academy, we teach people, students, so mostly older students, high school students and university students, as well as employees that work full-time and study part-time, how to study. So that's our aim. That's what we do. And I want to share today with you all our tips and techniques of how to be the best student. So also a thank you to the HR Talk that always arranges these webinars for us. So thank you so much for them. At the end of this session today, you can make contact either with myself or the HR Talk, and we will email you this e-guide. And I'm going to cover the e-guide today, and I'm going to go through it step by step so that when you receive it, you know what to look at and you can go through the e-guide yourself. All right, so I see some people are still logging in. So if you want to participate, I'll do a quick exercise with you. Have some blank pages, just like this, and a pen or a pencil with you. I want to demonstrate some of the techniques to you. So if you want to do that, please get yourself a blank piece of paper. Okay, so we're going to start now. I'm going to go through this e-guide with you step by step so that when you get the manual, you will know what to look at. During the course of the session today, please share your questions or anything that you're uncertain about in the Q&A here in the tab at the bottom. Because I would like to answer some questions as we go along. I don't know everything, but I know quite a lot. So our manual is based on a lot of research, international and national research. So it's really based on scientific principles. So please give us your questions in the Q&A. Okay, so there is our contact details if you want to get hold of us. And then I'm going to start with there's going to be two main things that I want to do with you today. I'm not going to do all of the other waffle and in-between stuff that some of you may know and may not know, but I'm going to do the two most important things. And then before we start, I just want to prepare you what your mindset must be like when you do this. So the first thing that you need to do, I want you to get rid of the thought that you may not be as bright or that you are slower than other people, that you're not so smart. So I don't know how it is for any of you, but I remember when I was in school, that's quite a few years ago, in our schools, we had two groups. Either you were clever or you were stupid. It was one of the two. There was nothing in between. And the irony is actually, if you look at a normal distribution of people, the majority of people will fall within the moderate range. You have a very small percentage in the below average range and a small percentage above average. So the majority of us, including yourself, we are probably falling there within the majority range. So what I'm trying to say to you by saying that is that I wanted you to get it out of your head and out of your children's head that they are stupid or slower or not as smart. Get rid of that thought, because with good tips and techniques and methods and with a good attitude, you can go very, very far. You can be very intelligent, but if you have a very bad attitude, you're still not going to do well. And I've got proof of that because I assess people in companies that don't make their MBA courses and their BCom courses because of not intelligence, because of a bad attitude. So I'm living proof that I've seen that. All right, so I'm going to start with the most important thing for me that I want you to take note of immediately today. So this is the contents. This is what this whole e-guide is about. And I'm going to show you a summary technique, and I'm going to give you two options. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what you need to choose. I want you to be open and fluid and decide what it is that you like and what it is that you don't like. So you don't have to do every single thing that I say. I want you to take the core principle and make it applicable to you. So I don't want you to sit in this class and think I need to memorize every single thing that she's saying. I want you to actually relax. And I want you to choose what it is that you like. And you are going to go according to what it is that you like. All right. So the most important things that I'm going to cover today is going to be your summary technique. And I'm going to show you how to visualize. And you may think that now I have to learn a new style. It's incredibly easy. And then the second thing is I'm going to show you how to put this into the long-term memory using your calendar as well. So these two things are going to link. You can't separate them. It's all going to link. Okay, so I want you to now, I'm going to start with a question to you. I want you to think of your most favorite movie. Anything. Think about years back or recently. Put it in the chat box down below here. I want you to think of your most favorite movie, something that you really like the Titanic or whatever. Please show it in the chat box down here. Any movie that you've watched, whether it was long ago or 2 weeks ago or 5 years ago, please share with us your most favorite movie. So for me, I'm going to think about the Titanic. I think I watched it 25 years ago. And I'm going to tell you why I'm referring to this, but let's see. Okay, so there's someone who's saying, yeah, Made in Manhattan. Okay, so that was also it's an old-ish movie. So you probably watched it quite a few years ago. Shawshank Redemption. Okay, I love that. That's a very old one. So Shawshank Redemption, it's an excellent one. Anyone else who wants to share an old movie that they've watched? Not old, it can even be from last week. It doesn't matter. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying this to you is if I let's take Shawshank Redemption or even Dirty Dancing. There's another one. Now, that is very old. Dirty Dancing was from when I was in high school. So that's a lot of years ago. There's another one, Patch Adams. So let's take Dirty Dancing. I was going to take Shawshank Redemption, but let's take Dirty Dancing. My high school friend was absolutely crazy about that particular movie. And think back about this movie. Think back about it. And what is it that you remember? Can you still remember the actors and the actors? Can you still remember the storyline? Can you remember the main thing about the movie, the message that you got? Can you remember that? Even if I think of Shawshank Redemption today, I can remember the whole entire, the steps of the movie. I can remember the guy actually scraping out little pieces of the wall and then taking the little bits of sand and letting it out in the courtyard area where they were all out. And I can remember him getting out of the prison and where he was out in the world out there. I can remember everything. So you agree with me. You can remember the core of the movie. Isn't that right? And then someone else said, yeah, Gladiator. And I can remember, what's his name? The main actor. I can't remember his name now, but I can remember him very well. So why is it that I can remember and I can recall Gladiator or Dirty Dancing, but I cannot recall the biology or the history that I studied last night? So did you put in any effort when you were watching Dirty Dancing or Shawshank Redemption or Patch Adams? Did you put any effort into remember it? So you tell me, why is it that you can still remember the core of it? Maybe not all the details, because the details will be a little bit rusty. And if you had to watch it again, it's going to come back to you, isn't it? You're going to remember all those sharp moments. It's going to come back to you, isn't it? So why can you remember this, but you cannot remember what you studied last night or even last week? So there is actually an answer to this, and that is that we have existing structures in our brains. We are just not using it when we study. So I'm going to show you how you can visualize and get it into your head like a movie, not studying and learning and trying to remember. I'm going to show you ways of how to get it into your head and be able to recall it in a similar way. And remember, there's going to be rusty parts. You're not a machine. You are just a human being who's trying to remember the stuff. So you will have rusty parts. And I'm going to show you how to overcome that. And remember now, hand in hand with this, I need you to have a good attitude. I need you to start getting it out of your head that it's effort and difficult for you to study and to remember things. Those are all learned nonsense that we were programmed, from before, because everyone looks at, am I stupid? Am I clever? Where do I fall? And most times people are quite modest and they say, I'm not that great. The other thing is a massive amount of your performance do get affected by stress and worry and anxiety. So we may not be able to address the stress and anxiety in this session today, but please keep an eye out for our stress management courses. We've now got a part 1, a part 2, and a part 3 that will cover this stress, that will help you to learn and manage your anxieties, because that also affects the performance. So you think that you're stupid, now you stress even more, and it actually confirms that you're stupid. And it's actually not the truth at all. So, okay, let's start with the summary technique. Okay, I'm going to give you two examples that you can follow. So the first one is what I call the structured summary technique. So Einstein was once asked, how does he study? Because we know he was very clever. He didn't do really well at school. But after that, he actually did really well. And I see that with quite a lot of people that don't do so well in school, and then they think that is a reference to how they're going to do better later in life. You also have students that do extremely well in school, but then fall off in university. So we've got a very big combination of performances that we see. And I want you to start with a clean slate. Start from fresh today. Start totally over. So Einstein was asked, how does he study? And he said, I use pictures and I use images. Okay, so this is going to be the first example I'm going to give you, the structured summary technique. Now, firstly, I have to give recognition to the University of South Africa that gave me some of these ideas. And then when I followed it, I did extremely well using it. So firstly, I want to say thank you to them. There was also more research from other authors worldwide, like Tony Buzan. You can Google them. These are experts on study methods and techniques, and all of their techniques were incorporated in here. So this is the first summary technique. Then I want to show you the second one, which is the unstructured summary technique, or what we call a mind map. And this looks like this. Okay, so if you look at the two, you will immediately know which one you like. This one it's the same. It's also got a heading, and can you see the subheadings there? And then you've got the contents under the subheadings. So it's the same principle, it just looks differently. So I usually tell students, you'll immediately know which one you like and which you don't like. And listen, you can also combine two of them. It doesn't have to be just the one and just the other one. But I'm going to show you how you're going to get this into your head. So firstly, I want you to first choose which one do you like the most. But I'm going to base all my principles I'm going to show you now. I'm going to use this one. But just keep in mind, you can use the other one, but you're going to use these principles. Okay, so how this is going to work. So from now on, you're only going to use blank pages like this. Get rid of books with lines and things that distracts the mind and the brain. Get rid of it. Blank pages, and you're going to turn it this way around. Not that way, whatever. You're going to do it this way around. So on the next page here, I wrote out every single thing that I'm going to say now, but I'm not going to read it off here. I'm going to make it practical. Otherwise, you may lose interest because it's just a lot of words and sentences. So firstly, in preparation for how you're going to study from now on, you're going to get a whole batch of pages like this. You're going to get a pen or a pencil. You're going to get at least 3 colors that you're going to use to color in your summary. And how you're going to start doing this is, say, for example, you have a history book. You have the whole book. I know today you may not have an entire book. You may have different loose pages or parts of content that you just put together. It's not entirely like it was when we were in school. We had one book with 10 chapters, whatever. But if you don't have specific chapters or order, you're going to create your own order. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to get an empty file, and every single page you're going to number. This will be page number 1. And as you finish a chapter, you're going to put that in your file. And you need to get order, because if you have 50 pages like this, you can get confused very, very quickly. So order and organization is what you're going to need now. Okay, so to simplify this, I have taken a chapter and I just made a mock chapter here. So this whole subject is about, say, fruits and stuff, but chapter 1 is about fruit. So this is just to simplify. So you're going to make this applicable to your history or any learning subject that you have. But can you see that on the top of my page, I identified fruit as my heading. That is my chapter topic. So that's about fruit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my handbook or my notes, whatever it is that I have, and I'm going to identify my subheadings. So can you see that the subheadings falls just below the subject? And in this case, I've identified, and you can circle it in your notes. Identify, this is going to be, the fruit chapter is going to be about apples, it's about pears, and it's about bananas. Can you see that you already have a good overview of your whole chapter? So this is the point that I'm trying to make, is that now you already know what your whole chapter is about. And circle it in your book, highlight it so that you can identify what is the most important topics that I'm going to be addressing in this chapter. Then only are you going to identify the content under apples. And in this case, my content is, for example, jam and juice, whatever. Okay, but now before we continue, the way that you're going to put this onto your page and the way that you're going to visualize it and get this summary into your head is as follows. So you get your blank page, you number it. This is chapter number 1, and my whole chapter is about fruit. You write down fruit in the middle top of your page. Then you're going to identify your subheadings, and whether you write out the word apple or draw an apple or whatever you do there, put it nicely in a row under the heading. Then, now this is where the secret comes in. And this is what you have to do, because if you don't do this part, you're wasting your own time. So now before I get to my content that goes below apples, I want you to close your eyes. And even there where you're sitting right now, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine your blank page with your little number 1 in the corner and visually see with your closed eyes the word fruit in the top, in the middle of the page. Imagine your wording the way that you wrote it, in the color that you wrote it. See it and imagine it. Then you go down to your subheadings. So still look away, and identify and visualize the subheadings. And that was apples. See in the middle where you wrote pears, or where you drew the picture pears. And then you see bananas on the right-hand side. So visually see it. Look away from the page and visually see it. All right. Did all of you do that now? It's very, very, very simple. Okay. So now before you continue with anything, you go through your notes and your handbook again, and you identify all the important parts under the heading apples. So this is the important part where people always tell me, but how do I know what is important? So what you want to do is look at any words that's in bold or cursive, the beginning and the ending of paragraphs, and circle it. Keep it as short as possible. Now, what most students tell me is that if I just write down the word jam, I can never remember that, because you're giving me one word. How am I going to remember everything under one word? You don't want to learn the word jam in isolation. You want to see it in the whole context of apples. Where does it fit in under apples and the whole chapter of fruit? So never study something in isolation. So you want to see, how does jam connect to apples? How does it connect to my next content, which is juice? Or how does it connect to pears or whatever? So you need to understand what you're reading in order for that word jam to trigger the association for you, because it's associations. If you think of Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie Titanic, you don't just think of him in isolation. You think of how did he interact with the other co-stars? What was his role with the co-stars, with the rest of everyone in the movie. You don't just think of Leonardo DiCaprio. We do that because we're stressed and we want to remember it. So what we do is we go jam, and we try to literally jam it into our heads. So forget about learning and memorizing it. So once again now, see under apples, we've identified jam and we've identified juice because this is what we can make from apples. So there, where you're sitting there right now, I want you to close your eyes, totally relax your shoulders, close your eyes, and in a very relaxed state, just see on the page where you've written the word fruit. It's at the top in the middle of your page. The next subheadings, this whole chapter is about, and you will remember, there was 3 things. What were they? It was apples, pears, and bananas. Just see it. Don't try and recall it. Don't try and remember it. You don't try and remember Leonardo DiCaprio's face, do you? You just see it. It's just there. So just see apples, pears, and bananas, and give yourself time. What we also do when we study is we try and remember immediately. We don't even give ourselves time. It is there. You know Leonardo DiCaprio was in the movie and Kate Winslet was the other one that was in the movie. You know it. You don't have to try and recall it, but just give yourself 5 seconds to bring it up in your head. So back down and just relax and breathe. So see apples, pears, and bananas. And now while you're still looking away, why did we write down under apples? There was something that we can make from apples, and it was jam. And there was another J, that was juice. All right, so now only we continue to the middle one, which is pears. So now you go back to your notes, you circle anything that you think was important that goes under the heading of pears. So what can we do with pears? What can we make with it? And I've identified cake. So just as with apples, we can make stuff from it. So pears, we can make cake and tart. So you can see I just randomly made this up, but I'm just trying to simplify it for you. So, okay, so we can make cakes and we can make tarts. Yes. Now, before you continue to bananas, close your eyes again for the 3rd time. Picture your page, how you put it in front of you, the little number 1, because it's page number 1. The chapter is about fruits. What is my main subjects or my main heading about? It's, close your eyes still. It's apples, it's pears, and it's bananas. See where it is on the page. Just recall it, relax, and just think of it. You don't even try to memorize it. Just let it come to you. What was under apples? There was 2 J's. It was a jam and it was juice. Under pears, there were cakes and there were tarts. Can you see that? It just comes to you. You don't have to try and remember and recall and punish yourself, and I can't remember it. You can remember everything. If you draw a big, fat, hairy spider on that page right now, take that blank page that I told you to get. Draw a big, fat, hairy spider on it in the middle of the page. Close your eyes and recall it. Exactly how many legs you drew there. If you do a face on it, whatever. You can recall it very, very easily. Okay, so now let's go on to bananas. So under bananas, you're going to go back to your handbook, to your notes. You're going to circle what is important. You get banana loaf, you get dried bananas, whatever. But can you see that there's associations between all of it? Sometimes there will be, sometimes there won't be associations. It doesn't matter, but the whole story links. Can you see how this whole story relates back to fruit? So now you've already taken care of chapter 1. Can you see how easy that was? But can you also see that there's effort going into it by repeating? So it's not as easy as a movie, because a movie is entertaining. It's fun because Kate Winslet looks nice in her dresses and a red lipstick and her hair and whatever. So this one is more information that you want to get in. So you do need a little bit more repetition. And if you tell me today, okay, I'm maybe visual, maybe not, I don't know, but I'm a more auditive person, then what you're going to do is whatever you say to yourself in your head, you're going to repeat out loud so that you hear it as well. So do a double whammy. So whether you know that you're auditive or visual, whatever, doesn't matter. Do a double whammy. If the visualization works for you, also repeat it out loud so that you can hear it. So say to yourself out loud, fruit, apples, pears, bananas, juice, jam and juice. And even if you mix things up a little, doesn't matter. Relax and just recall it. So how many of you liked what I just said right now, and to who does it make sense and to whom does it not make sense? And did I show you something that you already heard before, or is this totally new to you? So please share it in the question box. I would like to know your thoughts on this. And remember, you're going to have to start practicing this now. And quite frankly, what I did in school is I wrote things out. I wrote it out. It is a useless exercise. Research actually have shown that rewriting your whole handbook is a big waste of time. I can also say that because I did that. And then what I would do is, say, for example, I tried to remember George Bush. I would write it out 20 times. It's the most useless exercise in your life. So, okay, so someone here said it's very helpful and it's very interesting. And remember, don't try and put yourself in a box. And don't put yourself in a box in the sense of doing it only exactly like this. You can be creative, but have structure and have order. So remember with the other one, the mind map. Let me just jump to the mind map. I'm going to show you, here's a few examples. Can you see that this is based on the same principle? In the middle here, you've got your chapter heading, or your chapter, the topic of the chapter. And here you've got your main headings. Can you see that I put this in different colors? So there's 4 main headings there. And over here, you've got your content. So this is just a more creative, expressive way of doing exactly the same as I did now. Okay. So there are people saying that there's a technique that I could definitely use myself. And don't make this like a whole issue for yourself. Don't make it a big thing. Just breathe into it and do it in a relaxing way. Let me just keep an eye on the time. I don't want to miss important things. Okay, so if I jump back to the structured method that we did here just now, you'll see that on the next page here, I just wrote out everything that I told you just now. And there are simple techniques in here. There's things just saying don't use the color red. I don't know why, but the research says the red doesn't work well. So use a neon pink and a neon green and a neon, yellow. Or just use anything that you like, but I don't make it too crazy. I use 3 colors so that it gives order to me. Also make every page a little bit different so that you don't get confused with page 1 and 2 and 3. Also try to stick to 1 page per chapter. You're going to say to me, it's impossible, there's too much work. No, it's not. It's once again something that you're telling yourself that you can do, that you can't do, that you can actually do. So get the can'ts out of your head. There are too many people who's made it already and studied already and did it already. You can also be successful. You can also be organized. You can also use scientific principles in your favor. So before I forget this, more scientific research about how to study is using Baroque music in the background. And you just Google it, type into YouTube, Baroque music for studying. It's going to pop it up, and there's millions of soundtracks out there. So Baroque music is scientifically been proven to align your brain waves. It optimizes concentration while at the same time calming you down. So use it, practice it. If you feel it's irritating, just give it a go. I think I used it like 6 times. It irritated me, and then I started getting used to it. Chewing bubble gum while you're making your notes, the rhythm of the chewing has also proven to optimize concentration. So just get a box of bubble gum and keep it there. You know, if it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, it can't do any harm. And then, so together with Baroque music, they also found that marching music has proven to optimize your concentration. I think it's a little boring, so I opt for the Baroque music, but these things have been scientifically proven. So play with it. Also, burning lemon, verbena, essential oils in a candle burner while you're studying has proven to optimize your concentration. So here you can play around. Use your lavender and chamomile for when you want to go to sleep, but use your lemon verbena for when you want to concentrate. So what I used to do in the exam hall, I couldn't have a burner there, obviously. So I put a little bit of, on some cotton wool, a dab of the lemon verbena, and I would just lightly, just have it there. Sometimes also if it's smudged on my pencil, the pencil would smell like lemon verbena. That's good enough. So have these things with you. Get everything that can help you. So when you are studying at home, get a nice space where you can sit, your little space that's just for you, with a lamp, good ventilation, your blank pages, your pencil, your color pencils, your bubble gum, your water, because drinking water will take oxygen through the blood to the brain constantly. So there's actually a point to drinking water. Eating protein stuff has proven to optimize your concentration. So get your nuts, get your dry wurst, biltong things, whatever. Play with these things. So can you see that you're getting motivated, you're getting excited because you're going to go study? And then most importantly, get your little rewards for at the end of the week or on a Friday night or a Sunday night, you're going to watch a nice movie because you're rewarding yourself. Okay, so that was just a mouthful of tips that you can do. Now I want to jump to how you're going to slot in all of this into your calendar. So all of these pictures that you're seeing here, these are just examples of the structured summary style. Can you see it can look any way? It can look any way that you want it to look, and it can get quite complicated. It can look any way that you want it to look. If you visualize it, you will recall it. So, and there's a second part about the mind map, that if you like that part, you can do that part. So there's also some storytelling information. I'm not going to go through that now because I want to really go through the most important part, which is your calendar. All right, you're going to have a long-term calendar and a short-term calendar. You will see that in front of every chapter here, there's a self-evaluating part that you can fill in just to get your mind thinking about whether you've got those things in place or not. But I'm not going to do that with you today. But when you get the manual, you can fill that in. Okay, so firstly, you're going to have a yearly planner. So you know those big planners the plastic calendars that you can buy at Pick n Pay or Checkers, you get every year in the beginning of the year, you get one of those with a Cokie, and you're going to do your year planning on there so that you can see visually from a distance during the month of May or April or August, whatever, I've got my exam period. So I need to start planning ahead. So the year planner looks like roughly like this. So it's going to look roughly like this. You know, those plastic year planners, it looks a little bit different, but I just wanted you to get a view of the whole planner. So this is what it looks like, or you can print your own one from the internet. But there is a reason why I'm showing you this. This part is very, very important. So at the beginning of your academic year, you get a calendar which indicates each month of the year. You can draw your own if you want to. You use colored pens to highlight each subject topic that has deadlines or submission dates or exam dates. Also identify your end date or your goal. So is it a 3-month course or is it a year course? So now you can visualize your whole entire year from a distance and start creating a rough plan or a strategy in your head. So this will consequently allow you to do your planning for each task without running out of time. So that's the biggest problem. People run out of time. And I just showed you the example of table 1. Okay, and then you're going to have your monthly planner. This is your exam planner. So next, you draw up a monthly planner, perhaps a book type diary or computer. I just want to print it out on a computer, my A4 pages. You put it on your wall and you color code everything so that it looks interesting and fun and it draws you to it. Focus now on the specific subject or topic. So remember to use colored pens. Once you've identified a specific date, you can identify days beforehand to prepare for that deadline. So now I'm going to show you once again 2 rosters. Table 2 is going to show you the short-term schedule, but that's before the exam starts. And then the second one is the actual exam period. So you're going to say to me, yeah, but now I've got so many planners. This is not nice. You're going to make it fun for yourself and you are going to get organized. So I've had students before who said, yeah, but I can't keep to a calendar. Well, you need to decide beforehand if you want to be successful or not. Do you want to plan ahead or don't you? You will see that this planner will create or will minimize your anxiety to a massive extent. Okay, so put aside one day for planning your year planner and your monthly planner, because the planning is quite a lot of work. So by putting aside a full day to plan your year or your study course, you will manage your time and resources effectively. So proper planning also reduces stress and feelings of demotivation and of being overwhelmed. So when we do the stress webinars, you will find that when you feel overwhelmed or when you procrastinate, it's usually a behavioral stress because you don't know where to start. All of those feelings are stress related. So help yourself by getting these things in place. So also remember that your monthly planner does not need to start at the beginning of a month. If you only have a 4-week course with an examination date at the end, you could number your days. I usually, my calendar would say day 1, day 2, day 3. It wouldn't start specifically on a Monday or whatever. You need to adjust and adapt. Okay, so step 2. With your planning, you want to be realistic. For instance, you're not going to allocate 1 chapter per day because 1 chapter may have 5 pages, chapter 2 may have 50 pages. So don't do this roughly. You want to go and look at what it is that you can do every single day. Okay, I actually want to jump to the pictures first so that I don't confuse you with what I'm saying now. Okay, this is what the 2 planners look like. So can you see that table 2, this first table at the top here? This is my preparation for the exam. Table 3 is the example of the actual exam period. Okay, so you see that there's a difference in the 2 planners. Okay, so say, for example, my exam starts on the 1st of May. Then that will be over here. So this will be, for example, the 1st of May. So the preparation planner, which is at the top here, means that you need to start before the 1st of May backwards. So this first planner here, this will be April. Okay, do you understand what I mean when I'm saying that? So this will be, for example, April. And if my exam starts on the 1st of May, the 1st of May will be my second planner. The reason why I'm doing this is I want to count back from the exam date and do preparation. I'm not going to wait until I'm in the exam before I start studying, because you know how it is with exams. You may start here on this day, you will have history. 2 days later, you'll have English. 3 days later, you'll have another subject. There's not enough time in this particular exam period to cram everything in. So you need to take the 1st of May and count maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. It depends on you. You can even count back 4 weeks. It depends on you, how much preparation time you want. And then you count that back and you slot those days in here. Okay, so this is very important. So can you see that here it says the exam starts? So I want to focus now only on this calendar, so that I'm going to maybe make it a little bit bigger. And can you see that I've numbered my own days here? I'm just making sure that by the time I'm finished making notes and I have made structured summaries and I have visualized everything over here, by the time the exam starts, I've got my little files with all my notes in it already ready. So the first thing that people tell me is they say, but how am I going to study something here on day 1 here and day 2 over here and remember it down there? So you can do it. If you think about how you remember a movie, if you watch the Titanic a month ago, you will be able to recall most of it a month later. But you will only be able to do it if you do the structured summary technique and the visualization, like I showed you just now. So it's very important. If you leave out the visualization, and believe me, I've done it before, you're going to have a problem. You have to visualize it and put it into your long-term memory. So the visualization does put it into the long-term memory. What most of us used to do in school, and what most students do, is they cram everything into the short-term memory. Then they can't recall it, not because they're stupid, but it's because it's in the short-term memory. You need to get it into the long-term memory. Okay. Okay, someone just asked if I can send the notes. Absolutely, I'm going to share the notes with you definitely after this. Okay, so so firstly, what you want to do is you want to slot in. Remember, I told you before, you want to take 1 whole day to do your planning. So now you've got a whole bunch of subjects. You've got math, science, history, English, biology, all of that. So you're going to take all of your books and you're going to break it up into manageable, realistic little parts, and you're going to slot it in here. And please be realistic. When I say be realistic, please be realistic. You take your Post-it notes and you're going to go through your book and you're going to say, on day 1, I'm going to only do page 1 to 9. On day 2, I'm going to do page 10 to 21. And you're going to put your Post-it notes in each and every single handbook or notes that you have. And you're going to slot that in over here. So can you see what I wrote here? I said maths. And remember, math is a little bit different from your learning subjects. But you want to put enough practice time in, for example, if you do maths. But can you see I said page 1 to 19? I'm very specific. I'm not just saying there chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Because chapter 1 can, for maths or biology, can be 5 pages. Chapter 2 can be 50 pages. Then you're going to be out with your planning here. So be very specific on what are you going to do for every single day. Okay, and color code it. When the guy did my e-guide here, very nice and fancy and smart, he didn't put in my colors. So unfortunately, you can't see my nice color-coded calendar that I originally had, but put in colors for every single subject. And this colorful thing you want to put against your wall in the room that you're studying. And every day that you finish a day successfully, you want to cross it out. You want to cross out the day. You will not believe the psychology that it has on your mind as you can visually see your progress. And you can see it colorfully. And you can see, hey, I'm making progress. And every single day that you make notes on a specific subject, you put it in that subject file. And remember, you numbered every single page. So everything is in order. And you have visualized every single thing that you try to get into your head. So remember, you've taken care of your long-term memory. Don't worry about it. And I'm going to get back to the question where people asked me, but how am I going to get this day, whatever I studied on this day and this day? So 3 weeks later, you asked me to recall it in the actual exam period. So what is going to help you is not only your structured or unstructured summary technique, also your visualization, but what will also help you is if on day 2, you just quickly want to review what you did on day 1. You don't want to redo everything. You just want to review. You just want to quickly visualize what you did the day before. So that's incredibly important for the long-term memory. And this is research that I found from the University of South Africa. 24 hours later, you do want to just recall what you did the day before. Then when you get to day 3, you quickly want to review what you did the day before. If you have time, recall what you did the previous day as well, but you don't have to repeat until kingdom come. Just repeat the one day what you did the day before. On day 4, what you did on day 3. On day 5, what you did. You get what I'm saying. You just want to refresh, recall. No new notes, only visualizing what you have done the day before. Only visualization, only visualization. So when you think back of the movie Dirty Dancing, you don't try and remember or make notes of it. You just recall, what did they do? How did they dance? How did it end? You just breathe and recall, and be prepared for the fact that you may feel rusty, that you may think, oh my God, I can remember the heading and the subheading, but I can't recall the contents. Breathe and relax. It's only rusty in your mind. So this is really, really very important. So by the time when you get over here now, so now you've successfully summarized every single subject in your preparation phase. Now when you get to your actual exam phase, when you get over here, you only want to take out that file with all those notes. So for example, can you see here, day 2, today, day 2 is my actual exam on history. You only take out that folder the day before. You only recall the visualizations. And can you see that there's no new notes? There's no new fresh summaries, nothing new. You only take out, you can have up to, I'm not going to lie to you, I've had up to 50 pages that I have jotted down like this, and I was able to recall them all. And believe me, I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not an astronaut. I'm a very average functioning human being that only used visualization as I would have watched a movie to get it into my head. definitely a lot of hard work went into it, a lot of repetition, but I'm not a brain surgeon. So if you think, oh, Celia's special, she could do it, you could also do it. It is a simple technique to get it all in your head with a lot of hard work. But by the time you get over here, you're only going to close your eyes, visualize chapter 1, that little page 1. My heading was fruits. My subheadings was apple, pears, and bananas, and then my content. You will be able to recall every single thing if you do it like that. So you'll see that this day before the history exam, you will be amazed at how much you can recall. But be prepared for the feeling where you think it feels a little rusty. Be prepared for it. And you're not stupid if you can't recall it. You just want to recall it, relax, breathe, and recall it. You will also see that during this exam period, you've got more time off than you did in the previous roster. And there's a reason for that, because now you've already done all the hard work in the previous roster. Let me just check the time. I don't want to run out of time. In your previous roster, please make sure that you schedule rest days. It is incredibly important that you schedule rest days. Don't feel that you are lazy or that you can't afford it. There's too much work. That is why you slot in every little bit of work that you need to do. Something else that plays a very big mind trick on the brain is if you sit at your desk and you've got all of your books there and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I need to get all of this in my head. You want to manage that, because that's when people feel overwhelmed, and that's when they procrastinate. That's when they do everything except what they're supposed to do. You are only going to focus on day 1, on page 1 to 19. Make sure that you put away all the other books. Your desk must be clean. Your calendar says day 1, only today you focus on page 1 to 19. If you think, I need to do this whole book, I need to cram, okay, this is a real thin book. Most of your books don't look like this. But still, even though this is a thin little book, that is a hell of a lot of information to get into your head. So if you think today, I only need to focus on page 1 to 19, you can master that. You can do that. And so you're going to handle every single day. Now, most of the time, people's wheels come off because they haven't planned. They don't have a plan. They don't know how to do it. I can tell you now that whether you are an organized person or not, this is going to work for you. But you have to be disciplined and stick to your roster. You can be flexible within your roster. Say if something pops up a day 4, you've got, say, for example, a task or some homework, and you can see that you're not going to be able to stick to your roster, slot that work in somewhere else or spread it throughout. But don't put pressure on yourself and work through the night. A good night's sleep is an incredibly important part of your process. So please slot that in. And then I'm going to tell you another secret. There's one other thing that is incredibly important that you cannot neglect. And that is, say, for example, let's go back to day 1. I'm now in day 1 and I want to study page 1 to 19. You can only study 50 minutes at a time max. So I used to do personally, I did 45 minutes with a 15 minutes break. 45 minutes with a 15 minutes break. But the research has shown us that you cannot pass 50 minutes. Doesn't matter who you are. I don't care how clever you are. Science has shown that the brain gets tired after 50 minutes. You may not feel tired, especially on a Saturday morning. You decided, I'm going to get up at 10. I'm going to start. And I've got the whole day. So what do we do when we have the whole day? We fiddle around. We play around, we check our messages, whatever. But if you say to yourself, I've got only 45 minutes, you will see that you will put balls to the wall, because I only have 45 minutes. You set your alarm, you set your phone, and no phones are permitted. You don't take phones while you're busy with your studying. You cannot ever set your alarm and know that within 50 minutes or 45 minutes, my alarm will go off. In that 15 minutes break, you get up from your chair, you walk around, you do a push-up or a sit-up, you go wash the dishes, you do something, you get up from your chair and you go do something. And then the reason why I like the 15 minutes break is because on the clock, I will start again for 45 minutes. Don't fool yourself. You cannot surpass 50 minutes. No one can. even though you don't feel tired. Stop after 50 minutes, go take a break. A lot of people have told me that, yeah, but if once I take a break, I can't go back. Once again, it's a decision that you then need to make if you do want to be successful or not. But I also told myself I'm going to do everything once. I don't relearn and rewrite and waste my own time. If I'm going to sit and I'm going to do a summary and I'm going to visualize and get it into my head, I sit and I finish it. I'm not going to waste my Saturday, because on that Saturday, you could have done anything else. You could have gone out with friends, watched a movie, did shopping, whatever. So now you're wasting your own time by not going back and be disciplined. Because what you want to do is 45 minutes with a 15 minutes break. You want to continue that cycle maybe twice or so. Then you want to take a longer break. Then you want to do that same cycle maybe 2 or 3 times again. But monitor yourself, how you feel, how tired you're getting. But you will be amazed how effective and how efficient you are in the 45 minutes. Don't set aside a whole day. 45 minutes, 45 minutes, 45 minutes. It is very, very effective. And then another small little tip, once you get back from your 15 minutes break and you start again, just quickly, briefly review what you just did the previous 45 minutes. That is another way of getting it into the long-term memory. Can you see how this first roster, this time, will be incredibly effective by the time you get to your exam period, which is the second round? Why it will be in your head here. You will be so efficient and effective. It is ridiculous. And believe me, I didn't do well in school because I stressed immensely and I couldn't get things into my head. I had a lot of behavioral and cognitive stress, which made me go blank. I didn't know where to go get the information from. Once I got a question, I didn't know where to go get the information from. The structured memory technique will actually, it's like opening up a folder on a computer. And in the folder, you've got little subfolders. So when you summarize like this, you actually have a place where you can go get the information from. So if you get a question about the subject fruits, you'll know that was chapter 1. And the subheadings were, it's something about apples and pears and bananas. And they're asking me something about juice. You know exactly where to go get it from, because you can actually go through your whole visualization and see it. So in closure now today, I want you to quickly go back to this structured summary technique. Close your eyes, there where you're sitting right now. Close your eyes. All of you, close your eyes. What did we talk about earlier today? So close your eyes. I don't want you to look at the screen right now. Right there where you're sitting, close your eyes, relax your shoulders, and breathe deeply, and look at the page that you've started off with. And that is the little number 1 in the corner that told you this was page 1. Your chapter name was fruits. Picture where it is in the middle of the page. Then imagine and see, visualize your subheadings, which is apples, pears, and bananas. Even though the content is a little bit fuzzy, think about the content that we spoke about. Remember here under apples on the left-hand side of my page, I had 2 J's, and it was jam and it was juice. What was under the middle one, the one that said pears? There was something about cakes and tarts. And then there were bananas right on the right-hand side. We had banana loaf and we had dried bananas. So open your eyes now. I hope you all did what I said just now. How easy was that to recall? How easy was that? I want you to share your comments in the chat box. And remember, this is something that you can get used to. Show your children or anyone that you know, show them this. A lot of students, the main problem that they tell me is that they don't know how to very short summarize this. This would be the main obstacle that I probably find amongst children. Practice will make it easier. Practice, practice, and practice. I got so good at one point that I was actually able to just write down not even a word. I would just write down a J. Because I was so calm and I was so confident, I could just recall it. I can just recall Kate Winslet's face and her dress, the way that she played in the movie. If I can do it, you can do it too. And you've already actually done it, because all of you have watched movies and read books even. Even if you read a book, how do you remember what you read in the book? Because the story bound you. It had a binding quality, and there were associations. There was a story that was told, and you don't study a book when you try and remember it. The associations talk to each other. What I used to do when I got to a very difficult, say subheadings, and I really couldn't remember the words because it got very complicated, I would make a rhyme with apples, pears, and bananas, or I would take the A for apple, the P for pears, and the B for bananas, and I'd make rhymes with it. I would just do that when I was really at my wits' end of remembering it. So people here said it's easier to remember when you visualize it. Absolutely. And don't fall back on your old behavior. When you get stressed and panic, we just want to remember, want to recall. And someone else here said pictures are easier to remember than words. It is. And research has shown that the more creative, the more outrageous your note, your picture, your rhyme is, the more likely you are able to remember it. So your children are going to tell you, yeah, but now I have to study the work and I have to learn how to do it in this way. Just practice it, play with it around a little bit, and you'll see it's going to come to you very easily. Very important together with this program is the stress management part. So keep an eye out for our stress management part 1, part 2, and part 3 that we will do throughout the course of this year. That is one of the biggest effectors of our performance. So this is why you will say to yourself, and why children will tell you they can't do this, is because they start stressing and they're thinking it's taking too long. It's going to take you long in the beginning, and then once you get momentum, you're going to fly with this. Okay. So someone else said that they have to go to another session. It is about 10 o'clock now. So please email me if you have any questions, or you can make contact with the HR Talk. My email is celia@ptesconsulting.co.za. I'm putting it in the chat box here. So there will be a recording. There's a YouTube link that the HR Talk can send to you, and please email me if you want to know. But you are more than welcome to get the manual from us. You can also Google www.studymethodsacademy.com, and there you can find the stress manual. You can find this manual there, and you can also find on our website a test that will show you how you want to study. We also have a career test on there. And then there is someone who asked here, what is your view on doing past papers as part of the studying process? That is absolutely crucial. If you can get hold of any old question papers, it is crucial that you do that. And then also when you hand in work or test and you do well or don't do well, it doesn't matter. You want to go look at what you did wrong or what you did not get right. So a lot of people do get demotivated when they don't do well in a test. I say it's an excellent opportunity for you to see how did you answer the question and why did you not get it right. Never look at in a negative way. Always use all the information that you can to better yourself. And it's all about your thinking. The study methods link, can it be written here? The study methods. Are you talking about the website? Because the website is just studymethodsacademy.com. That's the website link. And my email is celia@ptes consulting. But also please make contact with the HR Talk in order to get this manual. But you are welcome to visit us on studymethodsacademy.com, and please make contact with me and I will send you this manual directly. And then keep an eye out for when you get invited to the next webinars. It's now 10 o'clock on the dot. There's very good webinars on how to manage your own emotional intelligence, your stress, your anxiety, your resilience. And we will have, towards the end of the year, there's going to be more study methods webinars, because we want to prepare you for next year. So please keep in contact with us. Okay, thank you everyone, and I hope to see all of you in the next webinars, and I hope you're going to have an absolutely great Wednesday, and it was great to see you. Okay, thank you, people. Have a great day.